Hi, my name's Scott Whitley and welcome to lesson 1 of my ear training for bass series of videos. A lot of people come to me for lessons with the goal, I guess, of being able to play more by ear. They may have relied heavily on tab, notation, things like that. Now, if you haven't guessed already, if you've seen any of my other videos, I don't really work from tab. I rarely provide tab or notation even for my lessons, because it's not the way I learned to play. The way I learned to play was by ear. Sure, I know a lot of my music theory and things like that, and I can read to a degree. I can work from chord charts. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way I prefer to work is to play by ear. In other words, if I've got a piece of music to learn, I listen to the piece of music, work the bass line out, and then just play it. Other great things about learning to play by ear mean that you can easily transpose a tune, for example. Quite often I'll be in a band situation and everybody's got the chords for a particular tune, and then the singer will find it a bit too high and say, can we move it down from D to, B flat or something, and yeah, not a problem. But all the guys working from chords, and they're going crazy, and it's like, oh no, I've got to rewrite every single chord. And now a lot of this ties in with a bit of music theory as well, particularly the diatonic chord system is the holy grail for me. It's where I get all my stuff from. What we're going to do in this lesson is I'm going to talk about singing everything you play. Okay? Now, if you've never done this before, or nobody's ever talked to you about singing what you play, you might think it's kind of bonkers, but believe you me, it is not. It's probably the biggest, most important thing you can do to develop your ear as a bass player. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, a lot of us learn the instrument by maybe, as I said before, a lot of people, I mean, I didn't learn this way, but a lot of people today learn by tab. Okay, so they get the tab for a tune, or they might go to lessons and they might have a tutor show them a few scales and arpeggios and that kind of thing. The thing is, what we're aiming to do here is to take the focus off playing from here, okay? In other words, almost like playing by numbers, put this finger here, this finger here, anybody can kind of learn to do that. And to play from here, or here, depending on how you look on it. So you're kind of reversing the process, okay? From playing here and then you hear what you're playing, to you hear it in here, and then you play it through the instrument, okay? Now that's a massive difference, particularly if you look at music as a form of communication or an art. We're now talking about actually having something to portray, to say as a musician. In other words, you've got music to make, and then you use the instrument to make the music. Okay, so if this all sounds a bit deep, I guess it is, but it's real stuff. Okay, and the other thing about singing everything you play is, if you want to get into improvising, then it's just going to help beyond belief. If you can't sing something, then you can't really genuinely improvise, or certainly in what I would call a soulful or meaningful way. It's coming from your fingers. You just know that if you're playing over A minor, if you whittle your fingers over a kind of A blues scale or something, it works. Well, that's not real. It's not real improvising. It is, and it's where we all start. Don't get me wrong. You've got to start by trying stuff. But here's the thing. Every single thing you learn on the instrument, sing it. Now, all right. Don't worry about singing it in public, in front of people, things like that. I'm talking about in your own personal practice space. Sing everything you play. right? So let's take you know, the major scale. I play the major scale all the time because everything comes from it, and it's the most basic thing that you really should get down. If you know nothing else, learn the major scale. Okay, so here's a major scale in the key of G. Okay, so it's quite easy to learn that scale by going, yep, it's 3rd fret on the E string, then the 5th fret, and you know, you could get a robot to play it, couldn't you? Yeah, okay. But here's the thing, try singing that major scale, especially if you're not a singer. I'm not what I would consider a great singer by any means, okay? But it doesn't matter. This doesn't really matter. You know, there's no need to feel embarrassed if you haven't got a great singing voice, or if you've not sung much before. You can almost just hum along if you like, okay? So, first thing is to do, play the G, the root, and then find that in your vocal range. There it is, okay? You might be, if you've got a high voice or you're a lady, you might be singing an octave higher. La, you might start there. But as long as you're in, you find a note, if you struggle, just slide up and down until you find it. There it is, okay? And then, at first, do sing as you play the instrument, okay? So, because it leads the way. Did you hear that? I dropped into it there. All right, here we go. Okay. Have a few goes at that and really try and lock in your voice with a note that you're playing on the instrument, okay? So we're kind of doing it, if you like, the wrong way around, but we're teaching our voice where to sit, you know, musically, okay? So listen to the note you're playing and then sing it and sit in with the bass. Obviously make sure your bass is in tune before you try this, okay? Now once you've got that down, try singing the scale without the instrument, okay? So just get your root. Okay, and just try singing that scale up and down. As I say, I'm no singer, as you've just heard, alright? It doesn't matter. The important thing, excuse me, is to almost teach your voice, you know, teach you the music and not your fingers. Not obviously the muscle memory of playing this stuff's important, but you want to be able to hear this music in your head, okay? So the thing is, once you've got this down, once you can sing that major scale up and down, the next thing to do is to and bear with me on this one, I'm not crackers, this is the real deal, this really works, okay, is to start to be, what I want you to try and do is close your eyes, right, and just visualize that major scale in your head, okay? So to just visualize your left hand on a fingerboard, and you can use your hand, actually fret your hand like this in mid-air, but see if you can sing that major scale in your head or out loud, and as you sing it, actually fret the notes on this kind of imaginary fretboard in your head, alright? So let's have a go, alright? We'll just do it together. Alright, here we go. 2, 3, 4. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Right, so if you find that easy, great. If you're struggling with that, then it's probably the point where you should kind of pause the video, if you like, and really try and get into that. You know, get to that stage where you can see that major scale, you can see your fingers moving in your head, okay? And you can sing the major scale. As I say, it is actually important, really, to do the motion of fretting those notes, okay, as you do this, because what you're doing there is you're linking the notes you're singing with your muscle memory, okay? So once you've mastered that, pretty much start to apply that to every single thing, as I said before, that you play, right? If you've got a bass line to a tune, then in the imaginary fingerboard, okay. Okay, so do you see what I'm getting at here? We're making the music as, you know, human beings, as musicians, okay? We're not relying on where to put the fingers on the instrument, okay? We are making the music and then applying it to the instrument. That's the idea. Okay, so down the line, what's this going to do for you? Well, the first thing is, working bass lines out by ear is something that, you know, I think a lot of guys that started playing around the time I did and before, we didn't use tab, we didn't have the internet, you know, we just had records, you know, and CDs, and cassettes, you know. So if you wanted to learn a tune, a bass line to a tune, or the chords to a tune, or the words to a tune, anything like that, pretty much you would just put the record on and you'd listen to it, and then you'd like lift the needle up and put it back and listen to it again, and you just keep listening and listening and listening and listening until you've got the bass line down. Now, to start with, when I started playing, my ears obviously weren't developed like anybody else. I was a beginner, so I remember literally working kind of, you know, Beatles tunes out and things like that. I put the track on, the first note of play, and what I learned to do was to sing that note, okay? So if and then stop it, and then I'd just try and find that note on the fingerboard like this. Keep singing the note. There it is. Okay, so that was literally how I started to work these things out. And if you think about it, if you play every single semitone, okay, you're gonna find it somewhere. And it's pretty obvious when you do. Listen, that's there it is. Okay, and then I'd listen for the second note in the bass line, sing that, and then try and find that one. Or another thing I'd do is put the record on, okay, and as it started, play a note, see if it fitted, you know. If it didn't, I'd start it again and try the next one and keep doing that until it fitted with, it didn't sound out of tune, okay. And I'd literally do that note by note, really laborious process, but all developing your ear, okay. So that's something that I probably recommend you do. Down the line, okay, when you've done lots and lots of practice, singing everything you practice, everything you play, what you should start to find is that you hear the bass line and learn it in the same way that you learn a vocal line on a track. So let me give you an example. If you put on one of your favourite pop tunes or whatever style you're into, you know, or a tune by your favourite artist, even if you're not a great singer, I think most of us in private will have a good old sing-along to a song that we really like, okay? The thing is, when you do that, you don't get the tab for the voice. You don't find some kind of structure written down and sit there like this. You just learn the song. You just learn that it's like verse and then chorus. You don't even think that. You just learn it because you like the tune. You listen to it a lot. It just sinks in, and you just know what's coming next. You know the tune. You know when you go to a gig and you've got like a crowd of thousands of people all singing along to the chorus of a song. You know they've not had to download the words or they just know it. You know they've learnt it because they like that tune. It's not really been a big deal to learn to sing that tune. And so it's exactly the same with the bass line, okay? You put a bass line on, you put a track on that you want to learn the bass line to, okay? And the first thing you do is not play the instrument and stuff, okay? You sing, you learn to sing that bass line, okay? So for example, that's a classic bass line. So you learn the bass line like a melody, like the chorus to a tune, okay, or the melody to a tune, and then you find those notes on the instrument. All right, so I know if you've not done this before, it's probably it's going to take some time to get to that stage. But what I'm saying is, this is what it leads to. Okay, so ultimately, you're going to be able to just put a record on, and now the only thing is, unless you have perfect pitch, and this is something that only a very tiny minority of people have, that's where you could just randomly play them a note or sing them a note, and they'll say, yeah, it's a C sharp, that, you know. Unless you've got that, and let's just assume that hardly any of us have, you then just need to know what key you're going to play it in. So I hope this has inspired you to really get stuck into trying to get your ears more developed. And as I say, you know, down the line, it's going to transform the way you play your music, okay? You can play it with so much more feel and soul and meaning. It's going to make it easier to work bass lines out off of records. It's easier to just change keys and things like that, okay? So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on scott@scott-whitley.com, or you can leave a comment in the comments box below, or send me a message on YouTube. Please check out my website at www.scott-whitley.com, and hope to hear from you soon. Bye.